Verify the identity by simplifying the right side. Drag each step to place it in the correct order. So the identity is 2 secant squared theta equals 1 over 1 plus sine theta plus 1 over 1 minus sine theta. We're going to simplify the right side because it's more complicated. So what we need to do is combine these two fractions, and before we can do that, we need to make common denominators. So this 1 over 1 plus sine of theta plus 1 over 1 minus sine of theta. We're going to multiply the numerator and denominator by expressions that will make common denominators. So essentially we're going to take this first fraction and multiply it by 1 minus sine of theta over 1 minus sine of theta. Okay, so that's what you're seeing here. This first expression, 1 over 1 plus sine of theta, I multiplied the numerator and denominator by 1 minus sine of theta. And then plus, and we're going to multiply by 1 plus sine of theta for the other fraction. Okay, and now we're going to go ahead and simplify. The numerator is going to simplify to 1 minus sine of theta. The denominator, if we multiply that out, it's a special sum and difference pattern. So it's going to be 1 minus sine squared theta plus, and the second fraction is going to be 1 plus sine of theta in the numerator, and the denominator is going to be the same as the first fraction, 1 minus sine squared of theta. Okay, now we're going to combine both these fractions into one fraction, so it's going to be 1 minus sine of theta plus 1 plus sine of theta all over 1 minus sine squared of theta. Now when you're combining fractions, you want to be very mindful, because if this were a negative sign, you would have to use parentheses around this 1 plus sine of theta and then distribute the negative. In this case it's a plus sign, so we don't need to bother with that step. So now that they're one fraction, I'm going to simplify the numerator. 1 minus sine of theta plus 1 plus sine theta. Well, the minus sine of theta and the plus sine of theta, those add to make 0. Then we have 1 plus 1, which is 2. Then over 1 minus sine squared of theta. Okay, next step is I'm going to apply a Pythagorean identity to the denominator. 1 minus sine squared theta equals cosine squared theta. So that's going to be 2 over cosine squared theta. Okay, now it should be pretty easy to see how we're going to finish this up, because cosine squared theta and secant squared theta are reciprocal. So this is going to be equal to 2 secant squared theta. Okay, so that's verifying the identity. Now in this lesson, you need to verify the identity, but you can simply drag the steps in the correct order. And if you drag the steps on the slide as shown here, that should lead you through the process. But I wanted to show you the entire process worked out manually as well.